All right, well, hi everybody. Today's, it's early August, and we've just had our water filtration system replaced about a year ago. We had a brand new well tank installed because the old one had been, getting thin because we have very low pH here. It's about 5.5, and normal pH is about 7.5. And so we had pH control system put in, and that was compromised of a sodium hydroxide metering system, which is it's designed by taking like gallons of sodium hydroxide, mixing them in this 35-gallon tank. Now that tank can take 2 gallons of sodium hydroxide, and I'll show how we top that off. And then of course we have the salt here, crystals, which are housed in here, and I'll show how to top that off. And inside this thing here, this is the water softener system, and what you can see in here, there's a line here, and inside there's all these little plastic resin beads. And how the softening works, it basically as your water comes in from the well, it goes through these beads, and the beads take up take the hardness out of the incoming water, but they do get kind of like dirty or hardened, and that's where the salt comes in. The salt will periodically backwash through those beads and then sort of like recharge them. All right, so every 7 weeks or so I've got to come in here and top off the salt tank and also the sodium hydrochloride tank, and I'll show how to do that. But before that, it's been about a year since we've installed the system. So I've got 2 other filters here in this system. I have a sediment filter. I don't know how much that is. I think it's about a 10 micron, but I'm not sure. I'll find out, and if I have that information, I'll put it right here in the video. And then also I have a 5 micron carbon filter that is in the system as well. So when we had Mid-Atlantic come out, they installed this whole system. It's very nice. So on the sediment filter, there's a cutoff here and a cutoff here, and what that does is that can isolate the system. So I'm going to go ahead and turn both of these off. Okay, so I've got this isolated now. There is a pressure relief valve here. I'll just press down on that. Okay, nothing's coming out. So I'll probably get sprayed a little bit. All right, so they've got filter wrenches for these housings. So I'll go ahead and put this on here. Now, the guys from Mid-Atlantic, what they did, and you want to make sure if you have a filter system like this, that you have really strong, robust holds for this housing, because what you don't want to do is crack any of these pipes here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be extra cautious, and I'm going to get my helper here to hold these pipes while we get in here. All right, Terry, can you come here and just can you come here? I'm going to tap that. You're going to break it. Okay, go ahead, tap. Okay, is it going? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. All right, so that was the most critical part. When I say critical, I mean, hey, I don't want to damage anything here. So now just unscrewing this. And you can see that there's a sediment filter in here, and it's kind of already brown. Now we're on a well. We've been here for about 40 years almost. And you're always going to get a little bit more sediment at the bottom. And one thing I like to do also is just drain this out a little bit. Swoosh it around and get anything down at the bottom. Now I'm going to take
a few moments later.
Alright, so we've taken our filter housing and rinsed it out really good. I'm just going to show inside. I do have a little bit of sediment at the bottom. It's not much, but it's very important to get as much of that as you can out, and also make sure you don't have anything around these threads when you go to put the new filter in. So alright, new filter going on. So one thing you want to be careful of, these new filters will come packaged, and you don't want to contaminate it with whatever's on your fingers. So I made sure before I started I washed my hands very well. don't want to get any like oils or anything on this. And at the bottom of this housing, it's kind of hard to see, but at the very bottom there's like a little cone. I'm going to put that onto the cone. Okay, and I felt it lock. Alright, so that's on the cone. And going to put it back on here. There's a reverse cone here. You can see, it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. So that cone's got to line up with the middle of this. Okay. And you should be able to feel if it's not there. Oops. Okay, so I didn't feel any resistance there, unusual resistance, so I'm pretty sure that the cones on both ends have it sort of tapering in and locking on the inside structure. There's my wrench. Okay, here we go. Alright, so just snug tighten that back up. How much force am I putting on there? I'm not like really nailing it. Before I started, I had this filter housing marked, and I know that's about where those words were for the sediment filter, so I should be okay with that. So what I can do now is turn the bypass back on. I heard a big surge there, so I know water's just gone in and filled up into the housing. It's not coming out yet. Let me turn that. Okay, and I do have the carbon filter here turned off here, both sides. So we'll go get him next.
12 seconds later.
Oh, let me see it. Yeah, maybe I'll get you to bang on it. If you can
just start it a small bit, and then you can put your recording back on. Do you want me to empty this bucket?
Yeah, I'm going to fill it up here.
Okay.
Alright, so the old filter coming out, you can't really see any sediment on there, right? But carbon is a chemical attractant, so if there's any nasties in the water, that way it'll get it. So you can see inside here we have a similar setup with the cone. We're just going to go ahead and get this washed out, rinsed out real quick. Alright, so replacing the carbon filter. I've got a EPS-10. It's actually a 5 micron carbon filter. It's got a sediment filter on there for structure, and the carbon's infused inside. But again, you'll see that these have plastic around them. So what you want to do there is make sure that you don't get your fingers on here and contaminate this filter any way, shape, or form. Okay. All right, and I see the carbon filter has these rubber gaskets on both ends. And we'll do what we did before, and that is inside you'll see that there's that little rubber cone or that plastic cone shape in there. So go ahead and center on that. And that one I felt it drop on. And you want to hold this in such a way that you kind of get the filter top centered when you put this back on. Get up here. Okay, just holding it level as I can. what did I do? Oh, okay, it's still. All right, so one trick I found that when I mark these with what they are, that gives me a set point to where I know it's tight enough. So I'm going to bring this over a little bit more, and I'll use the wrench to do that. Where's the wrench? I laid it somewhere. There it is. Thank you. Okay. And I would call that hand tight. For those of you that change your own oil filters, almost that tight. So. All right, so go ahead and re-energize this. Re-energize, open him back up, and I had the bypass turned off, which the bypass is right there, right down in there. So. All right, so. You know, one of the things that's kind of important to do is, you know, I know what today is, but, you know, a year from now I might not know what it is. So I always like to, you know, date these things on when I change the filters. Today happens to be August 4th, 2025. We'll get those on there just to help remind us to change these out again. I change these every year because we're a household that doesn't use a whole lot of water. Some folks might want to do it every 6 months. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and take this sodium hydroxide. It's 25% strength. Now you can only get these solutions at, you know, your water filter dispenser store, or in my case I got it from my water softener people. They're Mid-Atlantic Services. I'm in Maryland, so it was fairly easy for me to get. Now, how do you know how much to put in? Well, this system was already preset to automatically meter the right amount in. You can see that this 35-gallon tank is down below half, and the installer Chris, when he came out here, he put that line on there to help remind me to say, hey Joe, this is the halfway point on this tank, and what you want to do is have a gallon of solution here and a gallon of solution up there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put water in here up to about that point, along with my gallon of sodium hydroxide. So we'll go ahead and do that. And in order to do that, I want to turn my water on over here. This is just like a little garden hose that I have, and that runs water out to this nozzle. So get any dust and dirt out there. I know I'm making a mess, but all right. So I learned a long time ago. I worked in the chemical industry. So what you want to always do is you never want to put like a concentrate into nothing. You want to make sure you have something there. So I'm going to let this level go up to about maybe about here, and then I'll start adding the solution in. There, you want to hold that? Just hold it like at that angle.
Yep.
I don't want it to swirl.
Yeah.
So you understand what we're doing. We're gonna, the top will be here now. I always give these a little bit of a shake. I don't think that it's necessary, but yeah, I thought of it, so let me go ahead and do it. Should probably be wearing protective gear doing this, because this is a 25% concentration. All right, just don't move your hand. So what I want you to do is I want you to hold the camera like this down in there to see where you go. So you don't want to dump it in all at once. You want to do a nice even feed. And you can see the way my helper, Miss Carrie's doing today. She's keeping that swirl going in here, so it's mixing as it goes in. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna put the camera down.
What do you say to that, Hydro Pants?
I say, I'm already halfway there. Halfway there. Halfway there. Halfway there.
I want to rinse this bottle out. Okay, dump it in. Okay, one more time. Here. Refill.
Okay.
This does two things. It cleans the bottle, so it's not going to have hazardous material out there in the sink. Just swoosh it around a little bit before you put it in. Yeah, okay, good. And you get your money's worth.
A few inches later.
All right, so that's topping off the pH correction tank. The next thing to do is check the salt reservoir. Again, the salt in here, and I do have dates on when I do these different things. So I did this about 7 weeks ago. I put a gallon of sodium hydroxide in the pH treatment tank, and I put looks like 1 bag of 40-pound salt bag into this reservoir. But again, the salt is not something that's designed to go into the system. It's solely designed to clean these beads that are in here. So let's have a go and see how we go about doing that. All right. That's not too bad. I'm going to say maybe a bag, but this is deceiving because here, just hold the camera up like that. Look into it if you can. So I have these two sticks here. So they have a condition called bridging. So as water goes through this system, it could form a bridge or an arch down below. So as you poke in here, you'll see that, you know, the salt will shift down. So all I'm doing is to make sure that salt goes down in different spots. You can see it's already knocking it down a little bit, not much. So these are the salt crystals, which are more prone to the bridging effect. And they also have pellets, but I can't quite easily find pellets in my area, so I just do the crystals here and go with that. Alright, so I don't really need to add a bag, but since I'm doing a little video, I'm going to show how to add a bag. So all I do is I take my bag, set it up on the edge. So when I had Chris out here from Mid-Atlantic Water, he told me you really don't need to fill this up quite all the way. Where I have it right now is about, will do fine. There are a couple crystals there. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. I could probably put another bag in there, but as I said earlier, a moment ago, Chris told me that basically that's good enough. You don't have to go over. Well, all right. Well, that's as I say, that's topped off well enough. So we'll just go ahead and put the top back on, and go ahead and make a note that today's 8/3, 25, 1 gallon on the pH treatment, and then 8/3, 25. We had one 40-pound bag. So that's my record for today. If anybody has any questions, you see me do something a little questionable or wrong or have a question, just leave it in the comments below, and I promise I will get to it eventually and answer those questions for you. So just to recap a little bit, you know, what we did is we changed our sediment filter out and our carbon filter. We topped off our salt brine tank and our pH treatment tank. And the other thing that I like to do, I like to be prepared for these things. So I have a whole set of filters here. You know, I'm ready to go for years to come. So it's a good trick that I've learned to, you know, sort of shelve these things so that when it comes time to do what you need to do with changing these filters, you're ready to go. So I see somebody's drawing water right now, and this is a pearlostatic pump. He's just metering in that dilution into this line here, which goes through that static mixing tunnel and puts it into the system. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, comments. Put them in the description down below, and I will get back to you. Thanks, and bye for now.